Hi everyone. Today's episode is about data science and a review for data science course from Wagon's bootcamp. So if you don't know what is Wagon, it's a platform where you can learn software engineering and data science on campus or online. In our case, we did it online. So you can join the Wagon community to change your career, become a tech creator, or build your own startup and become an entrepreneur. So Wagon also helps you to find a job after finishing one of their course. And you didn't guess it right. Wagon is not sponsoring today's episode. So there are lots of opportunities, as you can see. And today we will tell you about our own experience. We have 3 graduates from data science course, Clara, Hazm, and me, September 2022. So let's start. Thank you so much for being here today, Clara, Hazm, and welcome.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be there.
It's really cool to be on a podcast, my first ever, so thank you.
Same.
Yeah, it's an honor for me. And so let's just jump into the question. First question, why did you opt for data science? Like, why data science? Why not software engineering? Why not other course? Like, there are many. What was the motivation for you? Or do you just wake up in the morning and said, okay, today I'm just changing my career?
Clara, you can go first.
Okay. Thank you, Adim. So for me, I have a background in finance. I've been working during 5 years in finance, financial analysis, and I wanted to focus more on the analysis part and less on accounting and other finance-related things. So I wanted to do data analysis. I went to look at different bootcamp. There are 2 into my hometown in Lyon. One Le Wagon and another one. The other one was 5 months long, and the Wagon was 2 months. I preferred 2 months because it was shorter. I could do it during the summer holidays and be ready to apply to job posting in September and at the end of the year. And for me, 2 months is a better format. It's short enough and long enough to learn a lot of things.
Indeed. And for you, Hazm?
It's going to be a very boring answer, but it was a very practical mindset, I think, brought me here. My most recent job was actually an English teacher in Japan. But before that, I moonlighted as a business analyst with some investment banks in Singapore for about 3 years before coming on this kind of a dream time of the real world kind of sojourn, which has been great. But career-wise, I realized okay, well, I gotta get things on track. And on speaking to my former bosses, speaking to some of my former colleagues, and just looking at job postings back in Singapore for even my old roles and similar related positions, everybody mentioned Python, everybody mentioned data analysis and data sciences. Well, yeah, that's my choice. That's why I chose data science.
I think I can understand that because when I was doing my master's, there is always requirement for Python, or when you want to apply for PhD, there also doesn't matter which kind of grade you are, especially in science now, Python is one of the requirements, must have, and also statistics.
Fascinating. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, that's, I think maybe I assume that because of I already had an experience on Python, that's why maybe I also got accepted for PhD, but usually what they ask is the Python you should learn. Okay, so that seems very
points because as an English teacher in Japan, I taught all ages, from 2 years old to 84 years old, and I had a lot of high school, junior high school kids. lots of these kids were learning Python. They were showing me the projects and little games that they made in class, and I was looking at that, and I struggled to make that at home following like an online course. Oh my god, these kids! I'm so proud of them, but they are in 10 years' time. They are our competitors, the people that will push us, the people that will be asking us questions, hungry. So yeah, that was a wake-up call.
Exactly. Yeah. It's scary also, like it's not scary, it's good for them, of course, but it's scary in a job market, because you know that your values, your skills are already outdated. You are not in the job market.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's I think for both of you, for Clara, it was like that she saw some perspectives, like she saw that, okay, here if I learn data science, I can already do more and also advance my skills. And in your case, like you wanted to change your career perspectives. Yeah, that's pretty
relevant for a few more years to come.
I think so. Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, we all did it for Python in most of the parts. Yeah. But so you think about that, you saw the opportunity and you want to change your career, whoever has their own reasons. And in that sense, why did you choose Le Wagon? Like, because as far as I know, when I was searching, there were many options.
Did you touch on this already?
Yeah, a bit, but I applied first to the Lyon bootcamp, physical bootcamp, and at the end it was cancelled, so I did the online one. It actually kind of okay, but I would have preferred the physical one.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there wasn't much choice. I live in Yokohama, basically the greater Tokyo area. And Japan is Japan. You have your expat community, but it's mostly Japanese here. So as far as I found, there were just two providers, Le Wagon and one more, similar to Clara. What Clara saw, the competitor course was a bit longer, was more expensive, and I just felt like I didn't have that time and that money to burn. Like, especially me living here in a foreign country without my family. 1 month studying is 1 month without income and just burning on rent and gas and stuff, so it's not such an easy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the Wagon. Plus, I had the benefit of actually quite a few people in my exact position, like literally the same company, English teachers in this company ABC, and they went through the Wagon courses. To be fair, they went through web dev, not data science, but 90% of them came out with very successful outcomes. So I thought, oh yeah, that's a good look. I could try that.
Yeah, 90% is pretty high percentage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also for me, I don't know for you is the same or not, but I really did structure. It's not like I'm going to learn Python on YouTube videos, and I really need structure. And I think at Le Wagon, they are able to teach you a lot, just everything about Python, but so much more about how to work in a team. We did it in the last week with the deployment of your codes and all of the things.
I'm just gonna stop you right there because we will discuss it later on.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, I think in my case, why I did choose Le Wagon was that it was online. First of all, I did a huge mistake, and I will also talk about it later, that because I was also still writing my master thesis and doing my master's, and also signed up for online course because I cannot physically go there. And Le Wagon seemed pretty good, but also one of the main reasons is that when they give you this syllabus, I looked it up, like what they're really teaching. They have cloud and virtual machine learning, and names seemed like very, very advanced and pretty catchy, so that I really wanted to. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And then I was like, okay.
Out of curiosity, did you recognize those things? I don't know, Keras, TensorFlow, whatever they might put there. I didn't. I have no idea.
No.
That was very surprising. I don't believe you, Hazm, because I thought because I saw you like doing exercise and everything, and we also worked like we were buddies in the course, and I thought, oh my god, this guy must be from, I don't know, like AI background or something like that.
Yeah.
No idea. I was actually going to ask both of you, like we all obviously decided on the Wagon, and Clara very interestingly mentioned structure, how she didn't want to follow YouTube videos or something like that, as an example. Did you try, Naz, Clara, did you try following YouTube videos or Udemy or Coursera course or something like that?
No, the only thing I tried was for the test, to apply to the Wagon. I tried to watch other YouTube video that was given.
All right, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. In my case, I was learning like programming since my last year in bachelor, because my friend came from France and I was like really interested, and I was treating him with coffee or lunch, so he could like, we would just meet on the lunchtime and he would teach me some coding. I was so passionate and there was no one to teach me, only him. And then my master's started and I was kind of still wanted, like I was desperate to learn, and I found someone from YouTube from Russia. Yeah, if he's ever listening to this podcast, I shout out, thank you, Maxim. And that was pretty cool because he was teaching me a lot of stuff. Although I didn't understand what I was doing, I was just writing codes. He was just saying, and we built a lot of advanced stuff. I didn't know that it was advanced until someone gave me feedback. And then I think my course get harder and harder, and I just wanted to focus on my course. And I also started to fail some of the exams and like getting really lower grades. So I said, okay, I need to focus in one thing. And then I stopped our course. And then at the same time, I was learning some of the YouTube videos from Stanford or from MIT. I knew a little bit, but not too advanced, because I couldn't like really ask them questions. There is no feedback. So you're just watching the video. And if you don't understand something, you don't understand, you should look it by yourself. And there are a lot of sources, but that's the paradigm, that there are lots of sources and you don't know which one is like really true.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
the motivation, so hard. So
yeah. And then I took last time I took a course on my university. So I'm from Vienna University, Boku. I took Python for data science, Python for science, but it was, I didn't like the structure of the course. It got too advanced and then I couldn't follow the course. And then when I started Le Wagon, it was totally different. Like it was so easy, I could understand, and they made it so easy so you could understand. That's what I like about Le Wagon. Yeah. And after that, that was very nice. And you were also mentioning, I think Clara also mentioned that a little bit about the application process. Now, could you, maybe after this episode, people want to know more about Le Wagon, and could you share about your application process experience? How was it?
I think Azim and you, we all had the same application process. It first starts with the exam. They send you this little prep work that you have to study for around 10 hours to the first test. It's a bit of coding, a bit of math, computer understanding, and they give you feedback if you have enough knowledge about math. If it's okay, then you have to do the prep work around 40 hours before the coding bootcamp to have the basis to start the bootcamp.
Okay. Oh, it's interesting. It was a little different for me. Like I had an interview first. So just an interview to talk about kind of, like career paths, backgrounds, why data science, very similar to these podcasts.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
But then I got thrown straight into the test, like no prep, and with just like a disclaimer, like, oh, it's okay if you fail. If you fail, but not too badly. We'll give you like a material to prepare and retry. But I mean, I passed the test, of course. But yeah, that was a little nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But more than the coding, the thing that I had like forgotten a lot about was basic statistics. I could do the coding stuff no problem, but like the math stuff,
For me, it was the opposite.
Coding.
Yeah, I never coded before, so it was my first time I had to learn how to code for the test in 10 days.
Oh man, must have been stressful.
Wow.
I forgot to say, like, I took I joined a Udemy course for Python, but I got like halfway through before losing steam. Something like Clara, you know, the structure and a proper teacher just grilling you. So I knew a bit, but I just needed somebody to kick me.
To be honest, I cannot explain how surprised I am. I'm superbly surprised that you guys both didn't know how to code and you guys both didn't know more about statistics, because when I was working with you, and it seemed like you guys knew everything. Like I was struggling a lot. You were idols for me. Like I was just saying, oh, I want to be like Clara and Hazm. Really?
No, but I think we all think each other the same. Like sometimes when you have a good answer, you're like, oh my God, this person is so clever.
Yeah. Because in my case, in first semester, I had a course on applied statistics, and I already knew. That's why for me, first part was very easy. Like the statistics were basic, and I was just doing everything. Okay, this bootcamp seems not that difficult before I realized. But yeah, it was, for me, it wasn't new. I already knew what they were asking and the questions, and I think I did pretty well. And also, like Hazm said, I also had an interview. What's your motivation? I thought it's like very serious, and I really prepared for the interview. And yeah, I think that was pretty funny that you guys both didn't have any background.
Was the interview very serious for you? It was like really casual for me. Like,
no, I think I always take like everything serious. So I thought like, oh, this interview is like very serious. I shouldn't fail, because I was applying for PhD, as I said, and in PhD you have interview, and I get used to that kind of format. Yeah, but so
it's always better to over prepare. So you did right.
Yeah. I think even the interviewer was impressed. Like she was saying, "Oh, wow, very nice. Okay, very good," and she was like really trying to skip the question because that wasn't that important, maybe. But yeah, well, we did it. Now, so you did your application process and the course started. How did your everyday schedule look like during the data science course, from the beginning till the end? Or maybe you shouldn't talk about the last 2 weeks, because we will discuss it later. Yeah, how was it? I know it was crazy.
I mean, it was just backs to the wall, right? We talked about the good things, about the positives of having this bootcamp so short, very, what do you call it, time effective. But then everything is smashed into such a short time. So if you don't conscientiously do your work, you fall behind. Every day you just have 1.5 hours to 2 hours of lecture, and then you're basically left on your own to do the challenges of the day. And the challenges don't only test you on the lecture material, but they also kind of like guide you to learn new things that they didn't show you in the lecture at all. So it's not like you know everything. And so it really varied for people. I think, yeah, now it's like Clara, especially. I worked with Clara a lot, and we got along very well. And I think at least the three of us did it correctly, in the sense that we relied on our group mates in the rooms.
Yeah.
We asked for help, we gave ideas. But there were many of my classmates who were very silent, and they must have struggled. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends of the days. Some of the day we were each day we have a new buddy and a new breakout rooms. some of the day was very great. Everybody helped each other, and some of the other day, you just type your issue on Google and try to raise the tickets. But I think that's good because it teaches you how to look out, how to fix your issue on your own. Sometimes that's also needed. But the buddy system is very good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll always prefer buddies over there.
It was a lifesaver. Most of the time, not always. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it was really. Also, for people who really want to know, like, how did your everyday day look like? Like, could you give one example? For example, let's start from Clara. Like, what do you do? What time you wake up, and then what happens till the evening?
Well, every day is starting at 9 a.m. in French time. Tokyo time, I think it was later. Yeah. But yeah, so for me, I prefer to sleep more in the morning. So I woke up at 8:45 and went directly to my computer because it was online. So that's positive things. Yeah, the lecture has, as Im said, around 2 hours, sometimes 3 when it comes to math, calculus, and statistics. And then exercise up until 5 p.m. And then finally 1 hour recap with the lecturers. But the last hours, I think was the hardest for me to stay focused after all this day of learning new things and coding and Googling stuff.
I know the feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it's we all feel you. And
yeah.
How did you?
There's some tutors who insisted on us live coding in that last 1 hour. Mm-hmm. I thought that was very stressful, but I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Like, it goes back to the thing about structure and just having somebody there to push. Like the honest Hazim would just be on the phone or eating some potato chips or something. But like when you have some lecturer that telling you go and live code or asking questions, oh my god.
How did your everyday look like? Like what time did you wake up and what happens after?
Me? Mm-hmm. Well, you take everything that Clara said and just add 7 hours to the clock. Mm-hmm. So I woke up like a normal person. I'm an early bird, so 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
That's not normal. That's not normal.
No.
No.
Guys, you're missing out. Sunrises and everything. Okay, but yeah. So I would wake up very early, and in the beginning, I would just kind of, because I know like the Wagon is going to be taxing and tiring for me, I would just basically rot at home, just like, read books and play games until 4 p.m. and then boom, exactly what Clara said, just with a different time zone. Mm-hmm. But coming to like, I think maybe even the last few days of week 1 or week 2, I was waking up the same, but then I was going to the computer and reviewing things because it just got impossible, especially with statistics. So
yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have to do the flashcard as well.
Yeah.
I never did that.
I didn't.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yes, the thing is, like, it was a very conscious decision. I had to think about it. Like, okay, I can do these flashcards, just memorizing the words and do it, but I will not remember them in the long term. So should I waste my time just pretending that I know the answer for the short moment, and also like there would be green colors, it makes you feel very proud, and that's why I didn't do the flashcards, because in the long term I will not remember them anyway. For me, it's better that when I have a time, really try to understand what they mean and then come back. So that was very difficult, but conscious. Like I really decided it like that. But also, what I wanted to ask is,
like I copied and pasted at least 25% of them.
Yeah, exactly. I was also doing that at a certain point. I found out like I was just copying. I'm tricking myself. Like who I'm tricking? I'm just copying, writing it on my paper, and then I'm pretending that I know the question and just looking at my notebook and just writing the answer. And then I said, okay, I'm not going to trick myself. So I stopped doing that. But also, yeah, like, did you had any time to review what you've studied, or like if you missed something after the course, like because in the evening you still have time, right? Because the course ends at 6 p.m. What did you do after 6 p.m.?
Well, for me, I actually did the flashcard because, like you did, I was just copying the course on Google, but it helped me maybe memorize more that what we did or the concept and not the practice. But then I just stopped. After this long day, I really need a break, so I focused on the flashcard to memorize the concept and try to relax and think about something else. Otherwise, I think I wouldn't have last these 2 months.
And for you? Oh, well, we should also mention that you live in Japan.
Yeah. So my regular Clara's, I guess for you, Naz, your regular hours were 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me it was 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. So yeah, there will be no after class for me. I would just like literally straight away go to my bed. But everything that Clara did, I did the same just the next day's morning, you know. I was a bit scared about attendance or like participation and stuff like that. So I actually messaged just checked with them like, I'm gonna be doing flashcards and submitting some stuff a bit late. Said like, okay, one day later. And like, yeah. So about the same.
Yeah, I a little bit regret that I still didn't finish the flashcards because I promised Arno, our teacher, but I will do them at a certain point. For me, it was the other way around. So as I said earlier, like I made a big mistake. So basically what happened is that I'm graduating from my master's and I should write my master thesis. And so in the morning, I wake up in the morning and the course starts and I'm very sleepy and have my breakfast during the lecture. And as soon as course finishes at 6 p.m., I just have a walk or I jog a little bit outside and then come back and write my thesis work. So I have no time to review what I've read. That's why I felt very lost. So I just wake up and just straight into the lecture. Or I should wake up a bit earlier, like 1 hour, 2 hours, and then review like some stuffs or just watch the lectures at night. So I don't have to wake up really early because I'm not lucky. I am a night owl. So I really hate waking up early. So it was crazy. It was very, very crazy. And I felt that I'm burning out at a certain point because I do all day the course and then again, I need to write the thesis work. And also my supervisors are emailing me that I need to make more additions. And it was very stressful for me. I wish I didn't do that mistake. I wish I focused only on this bootcamp. I think I could have done more, even the flashcards, especially flashcards. Yeah, that would be very good because I didn't expect that the course would be very tough. And so if you're listening to this episode, don't take my mistake, just take a break. And yeah. So what essential skills did you learn from this data science course?
Go ahead, Hazim. Your time to go first.
Okay. Look, we learned a lot, and everything was new to us. And of course, I could say all those different skills that we've learned, the different modules that we've touched, and so on. But I think the most impactful for me was just getting used to thinking like a coder, I guess, thinking about problems in a very step-by-step fashion. Like there's nothing that is unsolvable. Just have to break it down, break it down, and break it down. Another thing was all that reading of documentation. You start to get very good at sieving information now. Just like in you got 5 minutes, but you've got like 10, 20 pages of nonsense to look through. How do you find what you got? So I think those are the skills that honestly will continue to serve me very well from now on. I could talk about making models or statistics and so on, but at the end of the day, I think those things, I do know them now, but I could access them in the future much better because of those other softer skills. That's for me. I don't know about you, Clara.
Well, same as you. The coding logic. Also, I learned a lot about automating process analysis. That's really what I wanted to do. So that's great. We also learn machine learning and deep learning. So this is something I would have never understood 2 months ago. Clearly learn new things and to understand what we're talking about. It's just great. And also, like I said before, the last week of the bootcamp that we learn how to deploy everything into the cloud or to push the solution to the client. That's very important as well. So I think everything about Wagon was very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Also, especially, we didn't even have a chance to get to be introduced to new ideas in the AI platform or about data science. We also had a chance to practice, really solve the problem. And some of the problems, I think, didn't have a solution. That was very, very challenging and super interesting. And yeah, as you said, I agree. We got to learn more than we expected. So I'm not discriminating any of the skills or anything, but if you could opt, which week was your favorite? What did you enjoy learning the most? I think, Clara, you already mentioned that you liked the virtual machine and the cloud.
I didn't say I liked it, but it was interesting. I think the machine learning week was the most challenging for me, but I really liked the part of data visualization. This is what I signed up for, so it was the most interesting for me. But yeah, everything was interesting.
Oh man, my answer is going to be boring because it's the same as Clara's. Like the data visualization, working efficiently with pandas and NumPy. Those are the things that I could immediately see having very high value in those business analysis roles.
Yeah.
Immediately I am gonna use these graphs, I'm gonna slice data in this way. It's just like working with Excel, but much more intuitive and much faster and much more.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
So I thought, that was the best.
You also mentioned what topics were challenging. I think, Clara, you said, I hope this time I got it right, that the cloud and virtual machine was challenging for you.
Yeah, very challenging. It was interesting, but I think at this point it break me to start. This week was very challenging.
It destroyed most of our class, I think.
Yeah, I think it was on purpose, right?
I don't know. I think this might be intruding in the project week section, but look at it. Out of how many groups were there? 6, 7?
6.
Probably 6.
Yeah, I think only one group fully completed the whole cycle, like the cloud deployment and a live cloud working functioning demo on the cloud. And that just tells you how difficult and how ridiculously confusing it was, because everybody else tried their best and didn't fully succeed. So that was insane, so tough.
So we learned SQL, data visualization, and virtual machine, deep learning, machine learning, and TensorFlow. Also, we could use it, and CNN, which was very, very interesting. We also learned about how neural networks are built and what's the behind like the math, which was super intense and difficult, lots of information. When the course starts under the hood, I already knew like, okay, this is going to be very tough. This is really tough. So
that might have been the second toughest week for me.
Yeah. Also, so then the course finishes at certain point, or then there starts like the project. So during the last weeks, you need to work on your own project. So could you describe how was it? Like, how did you all start? You guys were working in the same group. I will describe my own project later. Yeah, your group mates.
Yeah, Hazim was our team leader, so I will let him speak about our project.
To be honest, like it was stressful, but it was really easy because of the people I had with me. Like I knew that my group members were among the people I could count on from my classmates. I was just very grateful when I saw their names in the automatic sorter. Like, thank God.
It was a surprise.
It's just, I was so happy that I knew it would be I would be okay, and it was, like other than technical difficulties that we experienced. For example, we mentioned about working with the cloud, things like that. I think the main challenge for Project Week, at least as one of the organizers, was just this is something we're new to. It's kind of hard to split work in an effective, efficient manner. Like there were some times when some of my group members ended up idling, and there were some times where I also ended up just idling and like waiting for nothing, and it was very frustrating for myself. Like as a business analyst who used to work in project management, yeah, we were terribly just wasting time. We got an end project, beautiful, wonderful, working, but like I wonder if somebody who wasn't me was leading the project, maybe it would have been like done in 3 days.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we did good because, well, for me, I was busy since the first day to the last day, so it was good. I think we did share our part and task very good. Like when someone was comfortable working on a certain subject, he went there, and if he had an issue, we can call someone else to help and have his back. So for me, it went good. So
that's great to hear.
Yeah. I would also like to mention, sorry to interrupt, just for listeners who have no idea what we are talking about, after you finish the course, there would be last 2 weeks where you need to propose your own idea, if you have one, building an app or just some project. And then after we start to vote for the project, which project we would like to work, and then we will have teams, and then for 2 weeks we have to build the app or the project, initialize it to a real app and show that it works. So that's the task. And then for Hazm and Clara, they were working in the same group. Their project name was What's for Dinner? And could you describe what the project objectives were and what it should have done?
Yeah, it's a very simple idea. The idea is if you go to the supermarket and you see an ingredient that catches your eye, but maybe you're not very familiar with, maybe it's on sale or it looks delicious or something. The idea is you can use this application, take a photo of that item, use deep learning to identify what item that is, because the computer doesn't know, right? A carrot or an aubergine. So identify, classify it first, and then look up a database of popular recipes from a very well-known website and give you the top recipes. So you could take a photo of potato and maybe you get, I don't know, some French fries or casserole recipes. It's just a very practical, simple idea that kind of touched a lot of things we learned with cleaning data, working with databases, image classification, and so on. Yeah, API call.
Which book were you? Cancer detection, right?
Yeah. So
it was a nice project as well. I think it was my third choice. We have many cancer detection projects.
Yeah. I used it just because I would be also working on my PhD at a certain point with images. That's why I wanted to work with the images.
Clara, you don't have to answer it if it's too private, but was it your first choice? What's for dinner?
It was my first choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I like food, so it was my first choice, of course.
I was trying to join the group about Google Analytics or something.
The group of Alex and Jamie.
That's right.
Yeah, it was my second choice.
Difficult. Like I looked at the project and I just thought they're not gonna make it. But that was like why I wanted to join. I just thought I'm gonna practice some skills that I've never tried before. So
yeah, for also listeners who doesn't know, so there was a group, they were working on, so they would track the users' behavior on the internet, and based on that, they can, for example, let's say you have an online shop and you know that how many users you are having, but how much of them don't purchase. So they came up with an idea that percentage of, let's say, 30% of consumers who did not purchase, but with some deep learning and neural networks, they could make them to buy, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very scary, but at the same time, like super challenging. Yeah, but in my project, so if I would describe for the listeners my project was on cancer detection. So we had the breast cancer tissue images, and we had to build a model which says if the image has cancer or not. And I think both of our groups were successful. Clara and Hazm, they did super advanced stuffs. They even put some QR code, and they were able to present it very well. Yeah, good job, guys.
Thanks. You can still access the link to see our projects. It's working.
Yeah, I will put the link. So I will just put the link to your project if you can share. Yeah, people can have a look.
Just be patient. It will take some time to load the prediction.
Yeah. So also for the listeners, you will have all the links for Le Wagon course. And if you mention some useful information, I will put the link below so you can have look at the description and find them below. All right. So about technical aspects of your projects, could you describe like first week, what happened? What you were able to build? Second week, what happened? And what were the difficulties? Like you thought like, for example, virtual machine, you felt like, oh, it's impossible. Were there some moments like that?
Should I go, or Clara, do you want to? Okay. So on week one, it was very clear where the work was. In very simple terms, we had to build an image classification model. We had to choose how to build an image classification model. So that was on the classification side, identifying a potato. But on the other side, we also had to do some work on basically the cleaning up of our databases. So there was a bit of cleanup for the photo side as well. One of our members did a lot of data augmentation and found some extra sources to get more and better data, because they say rubbish in, rubbish out. So we tried not to have rubbish in. That was one. And on the recipes database as well, we had to do some cleaning. Clara did a lot of work on that with another member to ensure that was usable. And then afterwards, it was just kind of like a marriage of the two. Once that structure was built, it was really just about getting that rearranging that the whole of the second week. No, maybe even first week, Thursday, Friday onwards, all the time was basically just trying to get that sitting in the correct parts of the cloud, trying to link with MLflow, trying to link with Google Cloud, using Docker and building a container and so on. And Clara did outstanding work on that. I tried for a long time and broke my head. Clara made it work. So
I had a lot of help from Hazm and from the lecturer and the TAs. It was a group work.
It was really well done. And I was so proud of us and of her, especially when at the end I saw that we were the only one with a live thing floating on the web that everybody could use. I was like, yes, Clara, this is because of you. It's because of you. So yeah.
I knew it.
Hiccups. If you talk about like blockers, maybe I could think of two. One, maybe Clara, let you talk about the Docker part a bit, building the container and pushing it to the cloud.
Yes, it was a nightmare. So what Hazm doesn't say is he worked a lot on it. He works also on the data engineering part. He did a great job. All I had to do was pushing on Docker and creating the image. The only issue was he was working on a Mac and I was working on Windows, so we had some compatibility issues. So once this was figured out, with a lot of reading the issue and trying, we were able to build the image and push it on Google Cloud. And once everything was working, it was great to see that we could have our app on Heroku and working.
Your project, you also built QR code and you worked on visualization and everything was working perfectly. Good job. Yeah, that's very good. Now, maybe
to mention we also had to actually design the website, and there was a lot of work not done by me that also went into just preparing the presentation. When you sell a product, the sales pitch is almost as important as the product itself. So yeah, my group members did a very good job on that.
Yeah, I think you were the only group who really I'd say very focused on selling the product. And how did you use the cloud? Basically, could you maybe, Clara, describe a little bit technical details?
So we had a backup to push the CSV, the data set, into Google Cloud. Finally, we didn't use it. We went directly to create an image on Docker, and this container, we push it on Google Cloud. And from then we linked Streamlit and Heroku to this container on the cloud. So everything is pushed on the cloud. We don't have to work locally anymore.
So
if I could explain for maybe a layman, our app needs to do some computing work, needs to identify the photo, needs to dig through a database, needs to give you the answer. All this is actually computational work. If you just build it locally and have fun with it locally, but we wanted to put all of that floating in the cloud.
Could you describe what do you mean locally?
In our computer, in our machine.
Yeah, it's just for listeners because
right.
we understand it.
On your local computer, your own hard disk space, you could have all those programming functions and databases actually physically stored in your computer. But what Clara successfully did was, long story short, put everything in a box and just put everything in a cloud, so you just access it remotely. And
it's very important for the group work, right? So everyone can store it on the cloud and at the same time access it. but if you have it
find out
locally,
the application as well, you know, like if I don't know, a customer, a user wants to do that, they shouldn't be using my MacBook's resources.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
that,
exactly.
that's kind of part of the project. Yeah.
Yeah, if you do that, like by your computer, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe someone will hack you.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. So then after the project, we make a presentation, and then what happens? Because you guys, I'm not sure if you participate the career week. I didn't myself. What happened after that? Could you describe
we
a little
did,
bit?
Azim and I, we did. The career week was common with the web development batch. They start to talk about every career path possible. They guide us how to choose the career path, what we wanted to do, and then they gave us some tips.
What were the options of the career path?
Oh, for Data Science Bootcamp, it was data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, and maybe I forgot some of them.
You had some more not fully technical roles. They called it a business meets tech category. You have things like product owners, product managers, business analysts, and things like that. And of course, you had what do you call it? The startup route owner.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the proper term they used. Oh, it's slipping me now. Yeah.
Yes.
And they had that route as well.
So they started.
Of course, freelancers. I'm sorry, freelancers.
Yeah, freelancers. Mm-hmm. So the first day was this one to choose the career path, and we have former students, some alumni of the Wagon that talk to us about their experience, their job or their freelance experience as well. That was really interesting. So that was the first day.
Okay, maybe Hazm can talk us more about
day by day.
It was intense. Yeah, the other one was working about our LinkedIn or resume or CV. Also how to build a nice portfolio. And they also give us advice for the interview and the interview.
The thing about the Wagon resources for the CV and resume, I'm pretty sure if any one of you or your listeners spends enough time Googling, you'll find those things by yourself, you know, and you can easily use them. But just having them shown to you and like they show you how to use, they give you examples, very, very clear, copyable examples and modifiable examples. And this just saves so much time making a very presentable resume or very concise cover letter. You know, these were things that, of course, I think as any modern graduates of university we're taught how to do these things to make yourself job ready. But I used to spend so much time on that. I used to agonize on so many things, but this was just really efficient. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I think because they are preparing you for the job market, and I mean, you are the some kind of products. Like if they make you to get the job, it's also better for them, right? So they are also like preparing, and also it's one of my favorite things about the Wagon is like they have everything very well structured, so you don't have to scratch your head and look a lot from the Google. They have everything, and they know like what kind of questions you might ask, and they already prepared the answers, some source. That was pretty nice, and the videos like YouTube source. And so I missed the most interesting part. I actually should have participated in the career week. Yeah, I'm regretting.
But you know, the resources are there. You can just look at them at your own free time after you graduate. You know, I don't think they will stop being useful, like ever.
Is that ones they shared in the group, or they had some presentations? Because I think I didn't see any presentations.
Like if you go, so the Wagon 99% of the course is run on a platform called Kit. It's like a virtual classroom where you have your lectures, your materials all organized for you. Nas, if you go on Kit, there is a section just for Career Week. I think if you click through that, and you should see everything that we had access to.
Okay, now I'm relieved. I'm safe. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if it's not a secret, what did you choose like for your career path? Data analyst, data scientist?
I'll be honest, I was torn. I wanted to go down the path of product owner or product manager simply because, long story short, it seems like an extension or an upgrade of what I used to do in the banks. It seems like a progression. Like even some of my ex-colleagues now have job titles as product owners and stuff like that. So that just made the most sense. But living in Japan, living in Tokyo, there are such roles, and all of them understandably require fluent Japanese. It's a very communicative, project team-driven kind of role. So that's unfortunately impossible for me right now. So yeah, data analyst, the most generic, but you know, there are jobs out there, and I hope that will set me down the right path. How about you, Clara?
Well, it's not a surprise that I will have the same answer as you again. But yes, for me, it would be data analyst as well, because I think it will better suit me. But I also think that product analyst will be very interesting. But based on my background, and as for now, I will start as a data analyst.
It's kind of, you know, they explain the different career paths to us. Data analyst was often described as being the most basic junior role. I really don't think they meant it in a bad way, and I don't think of it in a bad way as well. We are just fresh graduates from Python and data science, so like, yeah, you know, that's where I am, and that's where I should push and start from. Just a start, and after that, we shall see.
I don't know about Japan, but in France, there are huge needs of data analysis in the companies. So I don't think as well as it's a bad way to be a junior data analyst. I think it's just great.
Did they also help you or connect you with some companies? Or how is it happening now?
Not really. You have access to the alumni names and where they work now, but you still have to apply to the job offer or spontaneous application, and they also help you how to focus on your soft skills rather than your hard skills, because we are juniors right now, even if we have previous experience. Most of the other students have previous experience, so they teach us how to emphasize these soft skills that we can use in our new career. So we're not like real juniors.
Naz, if you're wondering whether the Wagon provides like something like a career fair or very direct links to recruiting agencies or, I don't know, big companies, Apple, Facebook, they don't give such resources, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, how do they help for the career path? Do they like introduce you to some companies?
None of that. Of course, we do have access to the Wagon, like the Slack channels where you see public job listings from alumni and so on. But that's about it from the Wagon. Yeah. They don't introduce you to roles. You have to find them yourself. They do give advice though, how to position yourself for those roles, but they won't do the searching for you.
Yeah, of course. I think there is no free meal everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You should be able to like, but they are giving you the right source and the most effective techniques and tactics. So you should be able to chew that and apply that in the real world, right?
And I will say that, like, again, this is probably public information that anybody with Google can find. But one of the Career Week advisors gave me like a nice kind of website where Wagon stores lots of useful links for people in Tokyo, like Tokyo specific job boards, Tokyo meetups, Tokyo like startup circles, things like that. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not expecting them to go and ask companies to hire Ibrahim Hazm, but yeah, you give me all that. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's I think how we also struggle. Like, it's not that we don't have information; we have too much information, and it's good that they are providing you like reliable source and the most like effective source where you can learn something or where you get to know that that source exists. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. That's what I was also saying. Like, they are so well structured; they already know what you want and what you will need, and they provided with the links. And
it makes me wonder whether you guys might have like a France or Belgium specific, like a Notion page or a site with all this information, because there's a lot for Tokyo.
To be honest, I didn't finish to read all of the Notion page. So, lots.
Already too much information, even after putting down. Yeah.
Yeah, in my case, I didn't participate the Career Week, and since I already had my PhD, maybe I will have a look. But I know because my friends are also like programmers or software engineers, so I was always surrounded. Surprisingly, that was like, I'm just surprised right now. I just realized that I was always surrounded or would have some friends from programming field, and they would always talk that, yeah, there are fairs and where you can go, where you can build your own startup. So I was aware that there exist, especially in Vienna. But the problem with European startups is that there are not many choices. Also, one of my friends wants to move to Japan just because for entrepreneurs, there are more investors. And in Germany, there are also, yeah, that's true. And he's like very serious, and he's going to move there and start his own or work there because he will have more investor. But in Vienna, especially in Austria, there are not many investors because, you know, there are more tax and it's not beneficial for the startups. So it's also like, you should also think about like if you start a company, how much tax you pay and is it advantage for you? In Berlin, I know like there are many investors compared to Austria. Germany is better, but that's why also like many startup ideas in US, because there are many investors and they also like provide a comfortable zone so you can start your own startup. Yeah, I'm not aware of others, but Japan, I know that they have many investors. Yeah, so you're lucky.
Well, I'm just looking for a job, so.
Yeah, I also want to ask, like, did you guys ever thought about starting your own startup? Have you ever thought about it? And if it's not a secret, like, what was it? And yeah.
Sorry for the disappointing answer, but no, I'm just a very risk averse person. I think that is like the short end of it. So, I've never even considered going down that path, and I'm very full of admiration for people who dare and succeed. So.
Same for me. My family has a lot of entrepreneurs, but I know it's not for me. I'm just looking for a job as well.
Yeah, I think.
Are you hoping to do that now?
That was one of the, like, in my head, there was like a small voice. Oh, you can also start a startup, like. So yes. I was also ambitious about that. In 21st century, you guys already know, like, there is no like extra skill. The more you skill have, the better it is for the job market, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I forgot to mention, actually, now Clara is in France I'm not sure which city.
Well, today I'm in Toulouse. I start my bootcamp at Lyon, but I just moved out last week.
Okay. And Hazm is in Japan. Which city?
Yeah, I'm in Yokohama, in Japan.
And could you a little bit give a general idea, like, because I think Clara gave me some idea that you were talking about the job market for data science and data analyst. Are there more requirements, and how is it going? Do you see any that more students coming to this area, or?
I would not know right now, as I'm just starting to look at the job application for data analyst. So I don't know. I can see a lot of offers, but not a lot for juniors right now. So I don't know. I don't know. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Japan, I think it's thriving. There are tons and tons and tons of jobs, but you need some Japanese. Yeah.
So I heard that in Japan you should speak Japanese.
Yeah, it's not a complaint at all. It's just a state of things. If you want to come in and you want to work here, yeah, you better know the language. If you do, so many doors will be open to you.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for France. You need to speak French because French are not known as English speaker.
Yeah. Exactly. And that was very interesting.
I don't know if you guys know, but with that aging population problem and so-called lack of manpower here, it's a good place to be, like, to look for work, I think, assuming you have the skills, which is Japanese. It's just many companies are hiring.
Yeah. I think also, isn't it paradoxical that everyone, you should find a job, but to find a job, you should have an experience. It's like,
I know what you mean. Like, especially as you're a student, you see these job descriptions and they must be very intimidating sometimes. Yeah. But the best example is this. Okay, I used to work in a bank, right, in Singapore. At that time, I hadn't completed my degree yet. It was a pretty good job, and one day I was just bored at work. I was a bit curious, like, what does my role really require? Not from my perspective, but what does the company think my role needs? So I went to the company website, job board, looked at my own job that I was doing at that time, looked at the requirements, and I fulfilled none of them. Like, I didn't tick a single box. Oh my god!
You're lucky.
I treat them as a guide. Like, if you have this, it'd be great. But if you really want it, like, the worst that could happen is you get rejected. Just go for it. Yeah. Don't worry too much about experience things.
So let's switch from the topic to the AI. So what's your opinion about AI before and after the Data Science Bootcamp?
Okay, so after the Data Science Bootcamp, I'm less afraid that AI will take over the world, or it will take a lot of trainings, so it's okay. But AI is very powerful. It's hard to understand how to make it work, but I think it'd be really useful for a lot of people.
For me, AI just used to be this black box. Like, when you say AI, you think of that, sentient machines and equivalent to human consciousness. But then when you go through this bootcamp, you realize it's nothing more than just a set of decisions relearned again and again and again for the best outcomes. And that's just fascinating to see, because it's not so different from how we as humans learn. It's just really interesting how it's so much more rudimentary than us, so much basic than us, and yet when you massage it properly, when you arrange it correctly, it can outperform us by so many times.
Yeah,
Then
but it's far away from.
to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Like
so
being capable. Sorry, go.
no, it's fine. Now we also talked about the job market, and how do you think, like, how important to have skill in data science or as a data analyst in today's world? Do you think it's one of the like most essential skills?
I don't know if it's the most essential skills, but I think it's very useful to understand how our world works. As the more we learn during this bootcamp, the more I recognize data science feels like it's everywhere. It can be on your smartphone, on everywhere.
For me, it's pretty simple. Like, I come from an accounting diploma and a banking degree and a banking industry. My friends, my circle, they're in those roles, right? Accountants, auditors. You got some in property agents. You got a lot of people in the banks. Not front end, more middle office, back end. So many people use data science from all those roles I just mentioned. Auditors, even the property agents. So it just seems like something. It might just become like the new Excel of our time, you know. Something that just everybody knows. Like you maybe one day nobody can say, I know data science. You're gonna sound foolish because duh, you know data science. We all learn it.
It's so outdated.
That day is coming. So we'll see.
Yeah. I totally agree. Also, one of the mind-blowing lessons were that when they showed us, do you remember the sound, how it's made of sinus and cosines like lines? It blew my mind. Yeah. I never thought about sound like that. Yeah.
Oh, sound like math.
Yeah. I wouldn't understand when math teachers or like genius maths, like people in math, they would say the world speaks in math language. Wouldn't understand that. But then after that lecture, I think, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with the exercise with the seasonal wheels. With you calculate the cosinus of February and November is what?
Yeah, that was very interesting, mind-blowing. All right, now coming to the conclusion, I would like to ask some general questions. So it's, as you want to answer them, it's free. So let me start from the first question. Do you have an "it always works for me" method for learning new things? Or how do you learn a new information? Because for me, it seemed like, sorry to interrupt, for me, it seemed like Clara and Hazm, you were both like so good at, like, even I thought, I again repeat, like I thought that you guys have a background, like in very advanced background, because you seemed like so well, and you're like, what you built on your project is also is a proof that you have a really good ability to learn like new information.
Yeah, for me, it's going to sound a little lame perhaps, but it's all about copying. I don't mean this in a bad way. I used to be an English teacher in Japan for 4 years. Do you know what the first step of learning English is? Like the first actual step in an English learning process for a baby or for a Japanese boy? It's actually listening. Before speaking, you're listening, and then you're regurgitating, just copying. So it's the same. I think Wagon was great in that lectures had mostly had lots of really good examples that you look at. You usually copy blindly first and and then you change something here and there, and then okay, and that really helped me a lot. And I wish some of the modules had more examples for the same reason. That was
sorry to interrupt. So would you just go through the lectures or keep listening to the lecture again and again until you really understand them? Or do you read in a way that you are understanding every sentence, or you just write everything on your notebook?
Oh no, for lectures I skim through. for me, it's important to go with problem statements. There must be a question that you're trying to answer, and if you can make your own versions of those questions and then get your own versions of those answers, then you probably have understood the topic very well.
Okay, I think I got it. You mean the code, the copying the codes and using them. Okay.
I mean, coding is one, but also, in terms of statistical concepts, like if you hear something for the first time, p-value, what is p-value? What is a good p-value? What is a bad p-value? Like, these are things that are not natural to a fresh learner. But if you see a couple of use cases and they are shown to you, these are, and you can immediately get a grasp of like, okay, I'm looking for this. This kind of means this. Yeah,
okay.
Clara, how about you? I talk too much.
Well, for me, I like you said, I don't have any background, so I had to learn everything from the start. Well, what works for me is that I know what my weaknesses are, and my weaknesses are I have an issue with focusing for a long time. So I cannot learn and read a lecture for hours. I prefer to focus on a short reading lecture, but productive, and then practice a lot. With practice, I need to practice a lot, and that was what great from the bootcamp is we had a lot of practice and over and over. And as Azim said, that sometimes we just change a little thing and say, oh, that's how it works. That's great. And I remember better like that.
Okay. Okay, now I know both of your secrets.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, deep.
So for the Clara before the bootcamp is to study more statistics and probabilities. And for Clara, the teenage Clara, would like relax. Don't worry about stuff that don't matter. In a few years, it will all be forgotten.
Hazm?
It's very close. If you're talking about technically, academically, yeah, I'll go back to my uni days and do statistics much, much more. Not just for the context of this data science course, it's just so important in so many jobs and life. A more generic one would just to be more brave. Be brave. Nobody will remember your failures.
So, yes or no question. Do you believe in climate change?
I do.
Yep. Okay, in your opinion, how seriously do your country or people, your family, your friends take climate change seriously? Like, what do they think of?
Clearly not enough. Even myself, I know I should do more. But I hope that one day we will all be on the path of doing better.
I think my perspective on climate change is and many people's is very close to, I think, a lot of people's view on God. Many people believe something exists, whatever choice, but they don't end up doing much about it, Like, yeah, it's there. And I think that's many people's view on climate change. They all believe it, but a bit sedentary.
Yeah.
Lacking in
motivation. I think I can relate to that because as even myself, like I know that what things to do because it's been mentioned in my lectures and many times I've heard about them, but I don't do most of them. Like I don't do enough. I know that I could do better, but yeah, I think it's the willpower and really acting upon your beliefs. Doesn't matter how many smart words, books you read, if you don't understand them or the concept, like what they really mean, or you're just trying to show off like, oh, I read that book or I know this word. Deep one. What is the meaning of life to you? So who wants to go first?
I will go. So for me, I don't know, the meaning of life would be just live and be ourselves. Just live your life as you want and not live your life as other people expect you to live it. Don't meet other people's expectations. Just live up to yours and be happy with the time that you have.
Yep. And for you, Hazm?
The answer is 42. That's just a bad joke, but meaning of life for me is to be able to wake up in the morning and feel satisfied with yourself that day. And that can mean many different things for many people, like whether that's your role as a human in this resource limited planet, or as a father, or as a daughter, as a student, as a teacher, or as a whatever your profession may be. To be happy with yourself as you are. I think that is the most we can ask for.
Yeah. I never explained why I ask this question. Always I ask it because everyone has their own meaning of life. So everyone has different paths.
Your answer, Naz?
Well, it's very difficult for me to answer because for me, I think I have like big dreams, like super huge. And I want to always try new things and don't put limits on myself. I keep doing it still. Like not be afraid and try anything. And the meaning of life for me is long, short stories that when I get really old, I'm not sitting and regretting, oh, I should have done that and this. I would be like a very cool grandma who is satisfied with life, who is telling like very interesting stories to my grandchildren, and like so they are. I'm not sure if they would be proud, but so that I'm satisfied. And even when I get older, like I don't want to stop. Why should I stop? Like I always want to keep learning. So the meaning of life is learning, trying new things, and don't putting limits or jargons. Yeah, just keep going.
Nice.
So thank you so much for being in my podcast. I'm very honored, and thank you for sharing with your experience. I'm very, very sure that we will keep in touch, and in the future, maybe we would have second part talking with CEOs, or I don't know, like you would build your own company, and I'm not sure if you will reply to me by that time, but yeah.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, I'm honored to have and to make friends. I think that's also a good thing, which I didn't mention, but very important, that you will have friends, you will meet friends internationally, and yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks a lot, Naz.
Just give me a call.
Yeah, I'm coming next year.
Yeah, I'm going to Japan.
All right. Let me know. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Naz. All the best to everyone.